Well, the most important thing is knowing the need for a nursing home. So when you know pretty much that your loved one is going to need skilled nursing care, you need to get on it immediately. And what I always recommend to people is ask around, get that list together quickly, and then start calling around yourself. And a lot of times if you're proactive, those good facilities will have a bed available. If it's not one of the top rated facilities, it's maybe one of the lesser ones. There are still some good facilities in town, but they change based on their administration from year to year, believe it or not. A lot of problems we see in centers are when the administration changes over and they haven't been able to get that chemistry back. You know, on the website, I've created sort of a little algorithm of how to do this, to start out with, where you want to go to look up these facilities and what their history is. And the surveys are probably the most important things. Every 13 months, the state will come in and survey both for the state and the federal government, and they're very, very thorough. And the centers know they're coming, okay? And if they're being cited for not feeding the residents, not turning the residents, not giving medicine, really serious things, that raises grave concern that this center can really take care of your loved one, okay? And then in terms of choosing a facility, you have to make sure they have the service you need. For example, if you have a loved one with Alzheimer's, it's advisable to pick a center that has a dedicated locked Alzheimer's unit. People feel very scared when they go in and look at these centers to ask the right questions. So if you end up in a center that may not be exactly your first choice, you want to make sure that you and your family members, friends, church members, anybody you can get to sort of check in on your loved one is very beneficial, because as they say, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. If they know people are watching what they're doing, they're going to give a lot more care. I know from experience the nursing home residents that don't have family don't get as much care. What you need to watch for is what we call a change in condition. And what I mean by that is you come into the facility and you see your loved one maybe isn't as active as they were, or they're complaining of pain, or you see some unexplained bruise or cut or skin tear. That's usually a sign that something has happened and maybe something is going wrong. And what we recommend is if you see a change in condition in your loved one, if their loved one's obviously able to answer the question, ask them, what happened? And they can usually give you an answer. If they can't, you want to get the charge nurse in, and if necessary, the director of nursing as well, and say, look, what happened here? So when you notice a change of condition, you want to be very proactive. Don't wait a day or two. Don't see how it's going to be. If you notice a significant change in condition, you want to get on it right away and make sure it's reported. And if there was truly some form of abuse or neglect, we always recommend you file a written report, because it happens. Obviously, if there's a major change in condition to where you feel like the safety of your loved one is jeopardized, you need to personally call 911 and have them taken to the hospital. Don't wait for the nursing home to do it, because sometimes they'll tell you, well, let's just watch it, we're going to monitor it. And then we've seen cases where unfortunately residents have passed away. If in a very significant case, we also recommend you call the Elder Abuse Hotline. And I have that 1-800 number on my website. And you may say, well, what is that? Well, what the Elder Abuse Hotline does is they come out within 24 hours and thoroughly investigate what happened. Number one, it helps protect your resident, which is the most important thing. They'll come in there and make sure that nothing else happens. And also they'll protect the records from being altered. And then lastly, we have a good idea of what happened because they've talked to everybody involved in the care of that resident. So that's a very important step. I believe it's wise to get a lawyer once you realize that what happened at the nursing home has injured or even led to the death of your loved one. So by hiring an experienced nursing home lawyer, they have the ability to know what to do. For example, to call the Elder Abuse Hotline to make sure the records are taken before they're altered. So one of the things we do immediately is get out a letter to not spoliate or destroy evidence. So by getting a lawyer involved early, you have that investigation ability, And then also we have the ability, if necessary, to order private autopsies or things of that nature in death cases. We have the ability to get those experts involved very quickly. We have the resources to hire them, to pay them, and to get that taken care of. And I've done nursing home cases now for over 15 years, and I've worked with some of the finest experts in the country. These are not like an auto case, they're not like a workers' comp case, they're not like any other case. They're a very specialized area. If the lawyer doesn't understand that, it will lead to a very, very poor result. Another reason you would want a lawyer in an injury or death case is chasing the corporate structure and the corporate money. What we see in these nursing homes nowadays is the facility that your loved one is at, that's just one in the chain of a long chain of a very complicated and convoluted corporate structure. And we know that that's just a smokescreen in a big game. So we've been very successful going up to the corporate owners and the people that are siphoning all that money out of the nursing home, because most nursing homes are very, very profitable. There's this misconception that nursing homes operate at a loss. They're not profitable. They are highly, highly profitable businesses. And you can tell that by looking at who owns them. Most of them are owned by investment groups. Some of the largest investment groups in the world own them. So we follow the money and we hold them accountable. We've done that time and time again.